Gerry Dee, everybody.
Thanks, buddy.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well.
Thank you.
You know, she's probably not watching, but happy birthday to Faith, your little baby.
Yeah, my 2-year-old's birthday, so.
Faith.
You know,
Go.
if she's up right now, that's going to be a long day tomorrow. That's all I can say.
Sure will. Congrats on the show.
Thank you.
It's actually pretty hilarious watching that stand-up clip that you said you taught grade 12 history, but you never took it. Is that true?
Yeah, it's an elective, so I didn't. I just, you know, I'm watching your stuff there, and you're so smart. And I'm not with political stuff. So the flag, like people are laughing. I'm like, I don't get that.
You're talking about like the Iwo Jima flag and all that,
whatever. And that was what I was teaching, right? So that's the sitcom came from that idea where I was a phys ed guy, which I do know. I know my anatomy and my physiology, and I was teaching for 3 years. I was teaching in Toronto here, teaching history, and world religion, and I couldn't even pronounce things. And then I started telling this to teachers, and they're like, I know, I'm doing the same thing.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm teaching math. I don't know math.
I don't understand. How does a gym teacher get to teach history?
Because they didn't have a teacher. So, and you sell yourself on the extracurricular. So I was like, look, I'll coach everything. I'll help, and I did do that. I was involved with everything. And people always say, do you miss teaching? I miss the stuff about teaching. Except teaching. I hated teaching. I hated standing there, the pedagogy, as they call it, and talking about stuff I didn't know. So I finally got phys ed, and on the show, he constantly wants to get phys ed, and he doesn't. But in real life, I finally got phys ed, and I did love it. But I was learning the history as I was teaching it.
Well, I don't understand. How would you do that? How would it?
You read the textbook.
See, we suspect that that's it. Like
that's all I had.
You would assign a lesson plan and then learn it while they learn.
Read it at night and learn it and give notes, give an overhead. And the problem with that is, one kid would inevitably have a question. There's always the smart kid that wants to know more. And I'll never forget. I had this kid. I won't say his last name, but his name was Neil, and he said, sir, I don't know what the question, something about, did European colonization have was it any of that from the Mayans? And I didn't know. And I'm looking on the overhead going, well, I don't see that in what I wrote down. And it was horrible.
That's amazing. So all this will be part of the show. So how true to life is the show going to be then?
There's a lot of truth, unfortunately. There's, you know, I remember marking exams. There's a scene we have. It's actually on YouTube right now. There's a scene from the show where marking essay questions. I didn't know. I mean, I'm looking at these papers going, okay, first of all, there's 125 exams. I'm going to sit and read these? Not a chance. So I'm just going to, if Susan's got a 95 going in, there's a pretty good chance she got 95 on this. Right? And then for lists, and like, I would take the smart kids in my class, mark theirs first, and use that as my answer key.
Dude, how many kids...
And teachers do this, unfortunately.
But okay, I know you said that other teachers said the same thing, but do you think you weren't an anomaly? This was commonplace?
No, I don't think it's commonplace. Like, this show isn't about saying teachers are you know, this is a little hyperbole on what I was like. But there are teachers that we cut some corners sometimes. And then there's the by the book that, you know, no, I will not do that. And they spend 45 hours. It takes 40 hours to mark 125 history exams.
Right. You're not doing that.
Not doing that, no. For what? Their mark might change 3%?
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
Well, I imagine...
It's the process. That's what I always used to defend myself with. It's the process of them learning it. What's the difference what they get on it? They learned it, they studied, they thought I was going to mark it. That's good enough.
Right. Did you ever...
It's true, though, right?
Wait a second. Wait. Did you ever fail anybody?
You don't fail kids you don't like, because then you got to teach them again. So you... And usually you don't like the kids that are, so no, I don't, oh, sure, I probably did. There was a rule in my school, you couldn't give them below 30.
Right.
And you couldn't give them 45 to 50. So you had to go 51 or 44. There was this close.
37 in chemistry, and I think I got 32 in math.
And that's why you're not hosting a chemistry show.
That is exactly right. But I wondered if standing in front of those kids prepared you for hecklers in a comedy club.
Very much.
Because everybody knows that nobody could be a worse collection of people than 13-year-olds.
Very much. Right. And even high school, that was no question. The oratory skills of stand-up, which is a big part of it, I had already down pat, because I was already standing in front of kids and talking and faking my way through. You know, that's the thing about teaching. If you sound like you know what you're doing, kids are like, okay, sounds like you know what he's doing, so that's probably right. And I would just say things so affirmatively that all right, well, let's write it down. That's probably, I remember, I was teaching Krebs cycle once, and I was getting confused myself, but I just kept going with it. And just, yeah, and there's the ATP is created from Krebs, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and they're writing it down, and then they're asking questions, and I'm like, okay, is that what I said? I don't remember saying that.
See, in a sense, you're acting the part of a teacher as opposed to being a teacher.
Yeah. I just remember that I handed out these feedback forms my first year. I wanted to see what they thought, and when I read them, I'm like, okay, don't do that again. that was a nightmare. They're like, you were terrible. And one kid, I'll never forget, one kid said, it's almost like you read the chapters the night before and came, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I did. Pretty much nailed it.
Give that kid a pass. He figured it out.
Well, she was brilliant.
It's got to be kind of cool in the sense of, I mean, you've been doing this a long time.
You know, I've been doing stand-up 12 years, which isn't really long in the stand-up world, but it's I feel.
Your body, though. It's hard.
Oh yeah, and I started later. I started at 30, so I took a chance, and I'm really fortunate, but I really like it, and I'm really happy.
What about the step to do that? Because you had a job, right? And they always talk about the teachers have the dream schedules, right?
Yeah.
So you took that shot. What was that moment like?
There were, you know, people think I took this big risk. I didn't. And when I left teaching in 03. It was you know, my principal was great. He always supported what I was doing, and it was a sabbatical. And if it didn't work out, I moved to LA, but I was making enough then to cover myself. So, and I always had teaching to fall back on. You don't lose your teaching degree. So I just said, you know what, this is a good. A lot of comics take bigger chances than I did. They leave high school and pursue it. And
so that was 2003?
Yeah.
So the year before that, right? So you talk about the San Francisco Comedy Awards. It's a really big comedy award.
Yeah.
Either nominated or won in the past. Dana Carvey a couple times. Robin Williams has been in the conversation. Ellen DeGeneres, Doug Stanhope. You won that.
Yeah.
You were the first Canadian to win that.
Yeah, and that was what made me think maybe I should do this. And I took 3 weeks off school, and I remember I had to keep calling the principal because I said, look, I got accepted to this competition. It's pretty big. I'll probably last a week. And then I called him. I said, look, I made it to the next week. Look, I made it to the third week. And that was 3 weeks off school. And I don't think he ever docked me any pay. Like, he was really great. And I still keep in touch with him, and he let me pursue it.
You're about to get a bill from the education board.
I think so. It's a private school. It was a private school.
It was a private school.
Well, that's why it was up to, and he was great and supportive.
Oh, well, then who cares if you fail him? It's a private school. Well, life is handed to them anyway.
No, well, no. There's a lot of good things. Well, I was at a great school. I was at De La Salle in Toronto here, where I went. I taught at my alma mater, so I was very comfortable. And I was very lucky. I remember sitting here driving up here thinking, I remember grade 9, grade 8, I didn't get into the school I wanted, and I was upset, and I was crying, and all my friends were going there, and this was my second choice, because you had to pick 3 choices. And I thought today, well, how lucky was I that I went to that school, because everything in my life came from going to that school, as far as the sitcom, and my career, and my friends. It was, you know, they talk about that sliding doors. Yeah. And that was it for me.
A show called Canada, Russia, 72. He played one of the great hockey players of all time, Wayne Cashman.
Yeah, who I got to speak to, and great guy, and he told me about who he was, because I didn't know that series, right? I was too young. Yeah. And Booth Savage, who plays Harry Sinden there, is the principal on Mr. D. So we went and got him. He was a tremendous help to me in that, because he was such a trained actor. And
you also have one of the greats, Jonathan Torrance, is in your show.
Yeah, well, he was the first person we went and got as soon as we knew we were trying to do this, because we became friends, and everybody knows J-Rock and Jonovision, and he's so funny.
All right, so let's get into anthropology right now. So education experts, Pink Floyd once claimed, we don't need no dark sarcasm in the classroom. Agree or disagree?
I lived on sarcasm, so disagree.
All right. Who's the first actor that you saw that thought, I want to do this for a living?
Michael J. Fox.
So it was stand-up was not the deal. It was always acting.
Oh yeah, it was Michael J. Fox. I just sat there at 13 going, I want to do this.
Teen Wolf or Alex P. Keaton?
Alex P. Keaton.
Okay.
And John Candy is my favorite all time.
So fantastic. Pippi Longstocks. Did you give more detentions or get more detentions?
Got.
Yeah. Did you ever get, like, what would you have to do to
give them? No, I never did. And that was one thing I think, I never sent kids to the office. I managed the class well. As much as I didn't know the stuff, I never sent them to the office. I would deal with it myself.
So those who can't do, teach. Those who can't teach, teach gym. What do you think about that?
Gym is not as easy as you think. I remember a math teacher saying to me, I had it so easy. I said, let's switch. Let's switch for a day. Because the screaming and the yelling, you're just like, oh, God, get out of here. So, no, I disagree.
What is the weirdest gift a student ever gave you when you were teaching?
Well, it was a bribe. So it was a bottle of rye, and he wanted me to play his kid more on the hockey team.
Seriously?
That was a weird gift. So I did. I played him more so I'd get more gifts.
What's the joke you most regret telling?
In class?
Yeah.
The worst thing I did, and we show this, is I came into my grade 9. I had an all grade 9 girls phys ed class. It was my first time they'd put me in charge of all girls. And I thought I was helping them because I remember girls would always miss class, and I didn't like when they missed class. And I remember I thought I was helping them by saying, if you're missing class because you're menstruating, feel free, tell me. And it was later there was a girl named Sarah and Michelle. I remember them coming up to me in grade 12 saying, that was the worst day of our lives. And I thought I was helping these kids. I thought I was saying, girls, you don't have to be, it's your body, it's the physiological process. And I'm thinking I'm helping them and I'm expecting them to come up and go, sir, I'm on my period, I'm just gonna sit out. Okay, yeah. See, honesty, yeah. Great. No, bad, embarrassing thing I did was that.
There you go, Mr. D, Monday night, make sure you watch it. It's on CBC, January 9th, 8 o'clock. Gerry Dee, everybody.